Alright, before we start this video, I know you got a question. Where the hell were you? Well, the last upload was a month ago, and during the month that we've been gone, we've been going on a few trips. My 21st birthday was at the start of the month. It was a crazy month. But we're back, and today we're going to be talking about the Outlast Trials. This game recently came out, and I would love to talk about this game. I actually planned on talking about this game originally as the first video of the channel, and we've been working on it for quite a while now. So I hope you guys enjoy this video about the Outlast Trials, and we're going to be uploading more. We're back, bitches. We are back. So enjoy. You are justice. You are loyal. We cannot allow the tyranny of mid-games and impartial reviews to condemn the people and reviewers who protect and guide you. Sabotage the finals, and we will let you out. Outlast as a series has its roots starting on June 26, 2011, with the founding of Red Barrels Incorporated, formerly known as Red Barrels Games. Red Barrels Games is an independent video game company founded by Philippe Morin, David Chateauneuf, and Hugo Dallier. Red Barrels is located in Montreal, Canada, and founded by industry veterans from some of the biggest game franchises in history, including the Prince of Persia series, Assassin's Creed series, Splinter Cell series, and the Uncharted series. Red Barrels is primarily focused on creating unforgettable single-player games. Outlast was the studio's first title. However, there was a title before them. It was an untitled project that was, well, untitled. And according to the head of the studio, it was centered around nanotechnology before being scrapped for unspecified reasons. The project's initial premise about nanotechnology was later incorporated into the Outlast universe. Outlast was the studio's first title, a true survival horror experience which aims to show that the most terrifying monsters of all come from the human mind. Outlast as a game was announced on YouTube on Halloween Day 2012, with a 4-minute trailer premiering on Red Barrels' YouTube channel. The game was praised for its gritty style and portraying it through the camcorder. This was before the body cam-esque style of games. It was popularized through YouTubers, and well, I mean, that's how you get the best marketing, is through people that like this game. But regardless, it was received pretty well and was released on September 4th, 2013 for Microsoft Windows. On PlayStation 4 it was released on February 4th, 2014, and on Xbox it was released on June 18th, 2014. The game was met with pretty positive reviews from critics. At Metacritic, the PC version holds an 80 out of 100 today, and the PS4 version of the game holds a 78 out of 100, with praise stemming primarily from its horror elements and gameplay, while being criticized for its environments and character modeling. It has been received with a number of accolades and awards from E3 2013, including the Most Likely to Make You Faint honor and the Best of E3. It was also nominated and won these following awards: Best Gore, Game of the Year from Fear Award, Best Indie Horror, Scariest Game, and 2013 Fans' Choice Award. People love this game. Gross body humor and its psychological focus, it was received amazingly well, and is considered one of the best horror games ever made. For a game studio that made this game as their first game, that is insane. Outlast takes place in the remote mountains of Colorado, where horrors await inside Mount Massive Asylum, a long-abandoned home for the mentally ill. Mount Massive Asylum was recently reopened by the research and charity branch of the transnational Murkoff Corporation, a name that will become synonymous with evil and torture, and has been operating in strict secrecy. Acting on a tip from an anonymous source, independent journalist Miles Upshur breaks into the facility, and what he discovers walks a terrifying line between science, religion, nature, and something else entirely. Once inside, his only hope of escape lies within the truth of the heart of Mount Massive Asylum. Outlast Whistleblower was released on May 6, 2014. It was originally dubbed Outlast Story DLC. The plot is as follows. Outlast Whistleblower is a DLC that tells the story before and after the events of Outlast 1 to show the final chapter of Mount Massive Asylum's story. The player takes on the role of Wayland Park, a software engineer under contract with Murkoff, who identifies with the poor souls housed in the facility. Fueled by his anger, the stage is set for the unmasking of Mount Massive's rotten core, with Wayland Park being the whistleblower. After he sends an email to Miles Upshur, I know, awesome, he then gets kicked in the face by Chris Pratt, we're going to call him Chris Pratt, and is instead put into the facility's Wall Rider program. A program which, well, this is what I want to talk about. This is going to be really important. The program of Wall Rider consists of getting an inmate that is insane enough to control a series of mechanites or nanomachines known as the Wall Rider. He is then put into the program as to break out and escape, while avoiding the Wall Rider itself, controlled by a man known as Billy Hope. So, yeah, that's the main highlight of the first two Outlast games. This DLC is pretty great. I would talk about it more in detail, but the main meat of this video is going to be about the Outlast Trials as specified before. If you can get it, I would recommend it. It's on the Outlast Trinity. Please try it out. The next thing in the game series was in the form of Outlast the Murkoff account. I'm just going to say this right now, this was the coolest thing a company could do. Outlast the Murkoff account was a series of 6 issues of comics published by Red Barrels and written by J.T. Petty and illustrated by the Black Frog. The comic ran from July 11th, 2016 to February 17th, 2017 as a free online download. Primary focus is to bridge the gap between the first and second game storylines. Outlast 2 was announced on October 19th, 2015 on Red Barrels' YouTube channel and ran for 1 minute. Outlast 2 introduces you to Sullivan Noth and its followers, who are left in a wicked world behind to give birth to the Temple Gate, a town deep in the wilderness of Arizona, with you playing as... Oh, hold on, who was it again? Hold on. Oh, okay. Alright, well, whatever. Blake Langerman, a cameraman working with your life, Lynn Langerman. The two of you are investigative journalists, willing to take risks and dig deep to uncover the stories no one else will dare touch, like playing this game. You're following the trail of clues that started with the seemingly impossible murder of the pregnant woman known only as Jane Doe, who was in the comics. The investigation has led you miles to the Arizona desert, to a darkness so deep that no one could shed light upon it, and a corruption so profound that going mad may be the only sane thing to do. According to the facility's records, due to this desert climate and the region being inaccessible by land vehicles, the two took a chopper to reach their destination, which ends up crashing from unknown complications. Blake wakes up sometime later with Lynn nowhere in sight. Later, Blake realizes that he's been stranded in a village with cult members that believe the end of times are upon them. His main goal is to find Lynn and escape alive from the hostile villagers, who, well, they kidnap Lynn, and you, the player, have to find them. The game usually, from what I could see and from what I've played, takes a big inspiration from religious imagery and horror. The ending of the game is, well, confusing. I'm not even going to try to describe the story of this game. All you gotta know is that this game was received pretty well and is generally considered to be, well, a step up from the first game. I don't know what to say. It was banned in Australia, and that's all I had to say about it. I'm sorry. I just don't know anything about this game, and I don't want to misinform you guys. So let's just jump right into the meat of this video. It was originally announced on June 13th, 2020, with a release date that year. That didn't happen. Instead, it was revealed again with gameplay in Gamescom 2021. The Outlast Trials is a cooperative first-person psychological horror experience developed by Red Barrels, go figure, and is the third installation in the Outlast series, serving as a prequel to the first two games. Prequel after prequel after prequel, this game makes its debut with a cross-platform online cooperative mode, allowing up to 4 players to participate. After 2 delays, the Outlast Trials launched in early access for Microsoft Windows via Steam and Epic Games Store on May 13th, 2023, with PlayStation 4, 5, and Xbox One, as well as Series X versions and cross-platform features, coinciding with the game's full release now on March 5th, 2024. This game got announced in 2020 and took 4 years to come out, and Jesus Christ, it is an amazing game. But we're going to talk about the story later on, because the story deserves its own little section. The Outlast Trials is my favorite Outlast game, so let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the gameplay of the Outlast Trials. So now that we've talked about the development history of Outlast Trials, let's talk more about the actual game itself. The gameplay in its entirety is an evolution of the first two games, but with small little factors that make it a step above the rest. And this is in the form of 3 different major factors that I feel are different from the Outlast series as a whole. That is combat, upgrades, and objectives. Let's start off with the combat. See, in the first Outlast game, your character is a soy boy. He doesn't know how to fight, and he doesn't know how to throw bricks at homeless people like we do. So, your main thing was supposed to, well, you know, hide from the big scary man. But in this game, you can fight with the form of the rig system. There are 4 different rigs in the game, with the 5th one coming out later on in the game's lifespan. You've got 2 combat rigs and 2 support rigs. The following rigs are as follows. You've got X-ray, which allows you to see enemies through walls, and on the later upgrades allows you to see highlighted objects. You've got heal, and then you've got the 2 combat rigs in the game. Blind is a mine that releases a cloud of smoke that obstructs the enemy's vision, allowing you time to run away. And also stun. Stun is a throwable object that, well, stuns enemies. It can recharge your night vision and your stamina when used on the higher upgrades. These rigs provide a tactical advantage in the trials that is not like the first 2 games. It allows you to be more creative with your team loadout instead of just, oh, let's all stun. No, you could have medics and scouts. It's just great. You can have an entire dynamic in your Outlast Trials team, and it's actually pretty cool. In the upgrades department, you've got 3 different types of upgrades. You've got prescriptions, which allow you to basically upgrade your character, and through the use of vouchers. Vouchers are earned every time you level up, and can give you upwards of 3 in the higher levels. There are 3 tiers of prescriptions that range from either really basic, like the ability to slide, or advanced regeneration and faster movement. These allow you to grind it out. It makes it so every trial is just a tad bit easier, but not easy enough for you to breeze right through it. Then you've got the rig upgrades. As I stated before, these rigs have upgrades. They are used once again from vouchers, a common theme for the next upgrades. These upgrades can range from level 1 to 8. The upgrades in this game are great, and I don't think I need to tell you what the upgrades do. Then you've got the third and last type of upgrade, amps. Amps are permanent upgrades which you can hold 3 of. They're interchangeable and they come in 3 different classes. You've got tool amps, skill amps, and medical amps. So that's all the upgrades in this game. You've also got customization options which, lo and behold, no microtransactions. See, every customization item in this game, unlike every other game probably ever made, is completely free. There is not a single predatory microtransaction in this game. I mean, there's one, it's not really predatory though, it's the reagent starter pack, and it gives you 3 different outfits and 3 different posters. So if you like that, definitely consider it. I really like this game, but I'm not going to buy it. Sorry. So every customization item in this game can be bought with Murkoff dollars. The economy is in shambles, but at least we have Murkoff dollars. And the value of Murkoff dollars is... What the fuck? Why is it that low? Well, anyway, you don't know any better, so this is where you're going to be sleeping. You can talk to Easterman through the radio and customize your character and your room. Every aspect in your room is customizable, whether it be the floor, walls. You can put props, including just a severed head in your room. You can put posters up. This is your space, your domain. It's a great system, and it encourages you playing the game more, because it's like, damn, I really want that poster, but it's $10,000. The fuck? And that's every customization option in the game. But I think we're forgetting something. The entire point of Outlast Trials and the entire horror factor of it is psychological and body horror. The gore in this game makes it very uncomfortable and very, very visceral, and I completely dig it. The aesthetics in this game are amazing, and nothing shows it more than the first trial, the police station, otherwise known as Kill the Snitch, with the simple objective of, yep, you gotta kill this man who's already being tortured by the very first prime asset of the game. But first off, we need to go inside of the police station and get into the security room to lift the lockdown. After you press the button, this happens. We got fucking law! Yeah, this is the very first prime asset in the game. Cotton Eye, I mean Sergeant Leland Coyle. The very first prime asset in the game and canonically a racist, Sergeant Leland Coyle is a power-hungry god-complex cop who is also a hillbilly. He is obsessed with electricity and often gets turned on when hunting people like yourself. On the topic of enemies, there's a few different enemies in this game that make it pretty terrifying. You've got your basic enemies, which are known as X-Pop. In fact, this is a blanket term for every single enemy in the game. These stand for experimental population, and I will explain where they come later on. As you push the snitch out of his cell where Coyle was torturing him, he begs you not to do anything, and as you push him to the door, the power goes out. You must make your way down to the basement and turn on a generator. While you're down there, Coyle is down there, making remarks as if you're a criminal and that the Vice Squad told him about you. Coyle is terrifying. He puts this sense of power and dominance that is just not seen anywhere else in the game, and it's honestly one of the best designed prime assets in the game. One of 3. The third one coming out later, and then the other one, it will be like a smash reveal when I reveal her. So, after you activate the generator in this massive basement area and fill it up with gas, you must make your way back up and push the snitch to the execution chamber. But first, there's an obstacle in your way. That is in the form of keys.
Boo-boo keys!
These keys are hidden in bodies, and what better way to do than hide the key in the body? Jesus Christ. You basically fist this guy and you get the right key that is shown on a monitor. This is in the form of a symbol. In the footage here, it could be something like heart. After you unlock the first gate, you must push him through the entire jail, the entire police station. After you unlock all the gates and make it to the end while dealing with enemies along the way, yes, there are enemies in here, you must kill the snitch. So after you put this guy in this massive electrical, kind of electric chair chamber and pull the switches, the more people pulling the switches, the faster it'll go. And when it reaches 100%, pop! He's dead. Coyle will try to stop you while this is happening. He generally targets the first player who's holding the switch. After you kill the snitch, you must escape the police station while being chased by Coyle. Basically go out the way you came, go back to the shuttle, and good job, you're done. At the end of each trial, you have this ranking screen, which can range from either F to A+. There's no S ranks. Sorry, completionists. I know, I'm a completionist myself. Each rank in this game can be affected by small little factors in the trial, such as throwing bottles or bricks, also avoiding traps. This is a great way to enforce replayability. It encourages the player to keep grinding out to get the best possible results. It's honestly one of the better ranking systems in the game too, because everything that you do matters. Being a team matters. It is insane how much they encourage teamwork in this game, and I appreciate it. You also get XP and dollars depending on what rank you get, and each time you level up, you get rewards. That's awesome. Each time you play a trial, you also get a customization item. So while you can buy customization items, you first have to unlock them, and you don't have to keep grinding on each level to unlock your goddamn shirt. No, instead, just play the level, and you get a customization item guaranteed. That is the first trial in the game. Moving on to the next one. Cleanse the orphans. But wait, no. We have the MK challenges, silly. The MK challenges are also in the police station. You've got 2 of them at the start. You've got Cancel the Autopsy, which is basically another version of the police station. You gotta find 3 keys around the area in different sectors that are hidden in bodies, all the while dealing with enemies. After you unlock them, these men get lower down in the grinder, you feel bad about yourself, Coyle chases you, and you escape. Pretty good, and overall, I don't think I can praise the aesthetics more in this. It takes place in a gymnasium in a prison. I mean, look how gruesome this is. There's bodies hung from the ceiling, mannequins everywhere. It's just kind of creepy. Then, you've got the last one, Sabotage the Lockdown. Sabotage the Lockdown is, well, set in the police station again in the same area as Cancel the Autopsy, with you having to go and activate a generator to escape due to a lockdown. You are not bound by prisons, at least they say. And that's the MK challenges. I almost forgot them. Now we're actually going to talk about the next trial, Cleanse the Orphans. Cleanse the Orphans takes place in an orphanage, what a surprise, where you, the player, must teach the kids the way of the Lord and stop the evil second prime asset in the game, Mother Gooseberry. So, Mother Gooseberry is a sadistic 14-year-old minded woman. She has the mind of a 14-year-old and has her, well, dad as her drill on her hand. The drill's often abusive. It makes remarks about her being a dumb bitch. I would play some lines, but it gets very visceral and very kind of like not good. So, you start off by going into the orphanage and you have to go upstairs to tune a radio. This is from, well, just music to Bible scriptures. You must tune these radios to teach the kids this gospel. There are multiple radios in the dorms, and there are 3 different dorms in the game. There's the boys dorm, girls dorm, and infant dorm. After you tune all the radios, you must go downstairs and press the button for teaching the kids in their homeroom class. There are snuff films playing on the projectors, and you must do a puzzle to get the projector films of the religious subtext into the classroom. So you can't go in through the door. Instead, you must put it through the hole in the wall and press the button on the other side to grab the classroom's film tape and replace it. All the while dealing with enemies. Yes, there are enemies. After you do that, you go to the chapel and give the kids first communion. But something is coming. Naked man. Yes, these kids are partying. You stop their party, and they respond by taking out this guy who is meant to signify Jesus Christ out on a cross. You are then instructed to find 2 keys and activate a generator down in the basement. While there might not be anybody in the basement, there's somebody outside with the keys. After you do that, you have to go upstairs and saw the legs off of Christ. The overall aesthetic of the orphanage is great. It pulls off this kind of creepy children's-like aesthetic with nightmare creatures and mannequins lying around and just blood and child mannequins and nuns with tits and sexual deviancy. It's kind of creepy, I'm not even gonna lie, but it really fits the idea of being kind of conditioned to not respect, religion. You have no God. You are a god. But anyway, you press the button after sawing this guy's legs, and blood comes spurting out of the ceiling, giving the children first communion, and they celebrate, each eating the flesh of Christ. After that, Mother Gooseberry busts through the door, and you must make your way through the door and the orphanage to escape, and you're done. The MK challenges in this are pretty interesting. You've got 2 of them. You've got Foster the Orphans, which is just tuning radios to get the children to the end, and then you've got Feed the Children, which allows you, and is probably the most unique part of this trial, in my opinion, I don't think the orphanage is very good, to find 3 to 4 containers of bleach around the orphanage while dealing with enemies. And you have to put them in a bucket of soup to poison the children. Yes, they fucking die. You killed them. You're killing kids. Monster. And that's all the orphanage wrote. Overall, I think the orphanage is a pretty good trial altogether with its objectives. It does get a little bit repetitive when it comes to the MK challenges, but the aesthetic is pretty good, and the style and the gore in this game, or in this map I should say, is pretty good. But let's talk more about the next trial, Fun Park. So it starts off with you getting out of the shuttle and making your way to the front of the fun part, all the while dealing with Mother Gooseberry up above, just putting a smiley guy on, face. Yeah. She peels his face off because there are bugs in your skin. There's bugs in your skin. Well, anyway, after you make your way into the fun park, you make your way over to a little diner. In the diner, there is a door with a target and a vat full of hearts in the center. Yuck. Ugh. The man at the front says it only takes 3 tickets to ride the Rook Canal. So you do the one thing that anybody would do in this situation, and you play carnival games by throwing hearts, which earns you tickets to go inside of the very gross themed Rook Canal. So after you get all 3 tickets and go into the Rook Canal, you witness, well, Mother Gooseberry in her gross chamber. Yeah, this video would be demonetized. Speaking of demonetization, do you like the content of Meatful Men? Of course you do. You're watching the video. You might be thinking, man, we must make a lot of money off of this. No, we don't. We don't. And we wouldn't be making money off of this video anyways because of the graphic content that is going to be ahead. So if you support this channel, or if you want to support this channel and enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to our Patreon. Your support would be greatly appreciated, and I can't thank you enough for watching this video, as this video means a lot to me. And let's get back to the video. Moving on about the mushy-gushy shit, this is the Rook Canal, right? We out here doing dental work. So, you push the orphans or the children, they're not orphans, I imagine they have mom and dad, I don't know. You push them through the tunnel, and you get blocked off by a toothbrush. You must follow wires to disarm 2 to 3 different circuits. You have to disable these circuits to disable the toothbrush, which allows you to push them to the end of the Rook Canal. You do this for about 2 different times until Mother Gooseberry sucks up the poop water from the pipes, and you can't push them anymore. Talk about a bitch. You do what any sane person would do and turn on the water. There's one down in the basement and one up above where Mother Gooseberry is. To turn on the pipes, you must follow the pipes from their pump to a certain valve. If you get the wrong one, it'll shut and spray fart in your face, it'll crop dust you, and you'll go insane. After you fill up the water, you push them down the slope and you get to the final part of the trial already, where you have to push them into a grinder. You ever just like go to Walmart and the kid won't stop crying and you're like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to buy chips. First off, I don't shop at Walmart, but regardless, this is what you want to do to them. You want to push them into a grinder. Show them what for. You got to show them discipline. But Mother Gooseberry doesn't like it, so she tries to stop you. But you don't care. You're God's strongest reagent, and you push them into the grinder, and you must make your way out of the fun park while being chased by Mother Gooseberry and a ton of different enemies. And that's it. That's the fun part. The MK challenges in this one come in form of 2 different MK challenges, which are both pretty underwhelming. You've got Punish the Miscreants. Punish the Miscreants takes place in the entirety of the fun park and starts you off in the barn, where you must take 4 Kaisenot fans. You have to press a button that has a circuit connected to it and then rip them off from the waist up. Fuck you, you're going in the grinder. All the while dealing with enemies, and there are 4 scattered around the park hidden away. After you get all 4 of them, you can leave. The second one is Open the Gates. Once again, another wire following circuit thing. Instead, you pull the circuits out and it opens up a gate. You have to do this 4 different times till the end, and there you go. You're out. That is Fun Park. See, Fun Park, I don't really mind anymore. During the beta, I thought it was way too long, but now it's the perfect length, I'd say. It's not too long, it's not too short, and generally, the environments in Fun Park are pretty good to see. You can definitely see that this is a kind of exaggerated amusement park with blood and viscera everywhere, and Mother Gooseberry just putting on a show for you. It's great. The next trial is Courthouse, otherwise known as Vindicate the Guilty. Courthouse is the 4th Outlast Trials program. It takes place in, well, a courthouse, and your objective is to get into the courthouse to perform the ultimate senior prank. Your first objective is to break into the courthouse and do a little funny trick called messing with a trial. You make your way into the courthouse, and there are 2 people on the stand, the accused and the defendant. The accused and the prosecutor. Sorry, I don't know court. I've only been to, like, court. I've never been to court. Not incriminating myself. Don't ask where I was on October 5th, 2023. But anyway, you press the button, and the first objective you have to do is find evidence. The accused is accused of mutilating and murdering several women and children and decapitating them. Jesus Christ. But no, she is innocent, and you're going to make sure she's innocent. Your first objective is to go into the evidence room or the jury room and open up 3 boxes, each containing 1 head. After you grab the 3 heads, you put them into the fountain. But there's another thing you gotta do. You gotta grab your acid vat. No, you can't drink it. You cannot drink the bucket of acid, I'm sorry. But you must pour the acid into the fountain, and it will cause the heads to melt. The acid is upstairs and the heads are down below. The heads have a puzzle coordinated to them in the form of a UV light filling the room. When the UV fills the room, you'll see 4 triangles in different states. From the least filled to the most filled, you must coordinate and type in the number that corresponds to it. After you do that, you put them into the fountain and the acid, and it melts the heads. Good job, you just erased evidence in a court trial. You're doing great. So this is the senior prank part of the trial. You have to go and kill 3 people. This is the part of the trial where it's like it's kind of fucked up. These guys are canonically known as scapegoats, otherwise known as witnesses. The witnesses are, well, witnesses to the crime, and you must use a microwave trigger and a tracker to kill them. I mean, I don't know why you can't just like throw a brick really hard at them, but talk about a crazy senior prank. So you track these guys throughout the courthouse, and once you kill them, you must make your way back to the courthouse to do the final part, killing the judge. See, the judge is begging for her life, and overall, the courthouse is a mess. It is covered in blood, viscera, and just the overall miscarriage of justice is just sickening, because I care about that. So, what way do you kill the judge with? Well, you harness your inner Sinaloa and you kill her with hammers. Yep, you raise her up with a crank after tinkering with several objects in the back, all the while dealing with Coyle. After you raise her up each time, hammers will break her knees, her arms, and then finally, she gets hung, with hammers crushing her face in. Then, you escape, and you're done with the trial. Good job. The MK challenges of this one are pretty easy, I'd say. The first one is basically the, well, scapegoat part of the trial. You have to find a certain number of witnesses to kill for a gate to open. After you kill enough, the gate will open and you make it till the end. Overall, this is a pretty good system. I really dig what they did here. It's probably the most unique part of the, the trials so far, because everything has been sort of just either finding keys or pushing something, but this is something where you actually got to explore the map and use different gadgets, which is a very, very, very cool idea. And that is Courthouse. Overall, Courthouse was probably the most complex trial thus far, but there's one more trial. And before we get into it, I would just like to say this. Viewer discretion advised. If you find extreme sexual and deviant nudity, kind of hardcore nudity and sexual abuse a little bad, click off the video now, because now we're talking about possibly the one trial in the game that scared me. So the next trial is Toy Factory, otherwise known as Duck Duck Goose Factory. This trial made me so uncomfortable, but it is what I love about this game. It has no filter, it has no morals. This is meant to traumatize you and your player character. Honestly, I couldn't have thought about a better trial than this one to traumatize the fuck out of a 21-year-old man, but here we are. After you get to the front of the Toy Factory, there's a sign near the left side of the front door that says that the key is located in the basement. So you go downstairs and, well, yeah, you find a guy stuck in a cardboard baler. That is terrifying. Imagine being stuck in such a claustrophobic area. He begs you not to put any trash in, that he could help you, and that he's been in your situation, and you start to feel sympathy for him. So, you do what any other person in this situation would do, and you start filling it with trash. You need to get about 3 to 4 boxes of trash, but there's a twist. There are conveyor belts on both sides of the area. These conveyor belts are the only way you can get these boxes into the area. There's a door that blocks it off every time that you go near it with a box, and the conveyor belts will put it around and around to your side. You need to grab this box in the conveyor belt and put it into the trash compactor. Each time it happens, the man inside begs you to stop. After you put about 3 things of trash in there, it begins to compress and he's dead. Oh. But he has the key to the Toy Factory. I wish he didn't. So, you use the key on the front door of the Toy Factory to go in, and you can notice that the mannequins have a bit of, like, you know, there is drawn-on vaginas and boobs and very sexual words. Yeah, no, this is all gonna have to be censored. You go into the production line of the Toy Factory and you see this man right here with his dick out and a Futterman mask. Your objective is to turn this man, make him your Ken. Alright, you're Barbie, make him your Ken. And, well, this guy must be really kinky, because the first thing you gotta do is encase this guy in wax. This is the most complex part of any trials thus far. You have to go upstairs into the storage room and find the right set of letters and numbers that correspond to a box inside. Any other box and it'll blow up in a psychosis gas bomb. After you find the right one, you need to put it on a conveyor belt and pick it up on the bottom. Put it into the machine and there you go, you just scarred this man permanently. All the while he's moaning and talking about wanting to be good looking for mama, and god damn it, why does he have a boner? You do this 3 different times. You do this for the lubrication, the erotic novelties, and, well, the wax. Each one of these boxes have a number and letter corresponding to it, where you have to go into the storage room and also find a key that is in certain areas of the Toy Factory. But all along the way, there's a new mechanic, alarmed doors. Whenever there is a bright red door that says there's an alarm, it will cause an alarm to go off. Holy shit, who would have thought that? I wouldn't have thought that. But when you open the door, an alarm will sound, and that will cause Murkoff to send more X-Pop in to kill you, usually just the form of a grunt. All the while, dealing with Mother Gooseberry in this trial. She will roam around the entire Toy Factory, trying to stop you. After you get all the keys and allow the production line to keep going, you must do what any sane human does and, well, incinerate him. This guy is disgusting. He's a sexual deviant and a sex toy. You basically just made a sex doll. So, you have to follow the pipes and release the pressure to burn him in the incinerator. Yikes. After you burn him in the incinerator and deal with Mother Gooseberry along the way, you can escape the trial, and you're finally done with by far the most disturbing trial ever made. However, that's the part that I like about this game. There's no filters, there's no boundaries, there's no second thoughts. This game has no line, and it helps the game immensely with enforcing its horror. You gotta really look into the specifics of it to actually be afraid of something. It's not in your face either. So, the MK challenges, which are new to me. I haven't played this. I mean, it recently released on, the full release, but the two MK challenges of this are crush and incinerate the sex toys. So the crushing the sex toys involves you activating a generator to activate a UV lamp to find the right box. Each box needs to be brought back to the starting area where the cardboard baler was and crush it down. After they're all crushed down and you get the right boxes that are portrayed in each sector from A to E, you will complete your objective. Incinerate the sex toys is by far the best MK challenge in the entire game. I was very confused in the footage when this happened. I thought ASP lagged out, but no. Instead, there are two carts on two different areas. Each reagent starts on a completely separate area than the first one, making it so you're separated from your team and have to fight for yourself. This is by far the best idea they've had for an MK challenge, and I would love to see it come back in an actual trial. Program 6, I would love to see this come back, but if it doesn't, oh well. But the main objective of this is that you take a cart full of sex toys and pull it to the incinerator. Once you pull it to the incinerator, you're done. You can go home. And that's Toy Factory. Overall, this is a banger of a trial. And honestly, this is one of the best ones in the entire game. This one actually made me kind of disturbed. But we're near the end, and you've completed everything, meaning you can finally leave this place. So let's talk about the endings and what they mean, shall we? After you get enough freedom tokens from each trial that you complete, you are able to escape. You need about 20 freedom tokens to escape, and it starts off with you getting briefed by Julia Easterman at the start. Yeah, the Outlast Trials as a whole is mind control, mind conditioning through trauma. You are going to be the perfect weapon, and you are a political dissident used by the CIA to perform various deeds politically that influence at least the more major events of the 1950s and 60s. It starts off with you going into the area where you began, the mansion, with your new identity of your private life and your public records. You must take these down to separate areas of the mansion, all the while messages of "Who are you?" are on the screen. This is your new identity, your old identity is erased, and you are nothing more than a weapon to Murkoff. After you deliver the public and private documents, you must make your way downstairs and find two keys. These keys are once again in bodies out in the courtyard. Side note, there are a lot of enemies in this trial. You will get absolutely fucked up if you are not ready. The way that you need to do this is through these gates, and there's a ton of different little side features in this. There are the camera-based gates, which if they see you, they will close. There's also the button-held down ones that will only open after a certain amount of time. But after you find the two keys and you unlock the doors, you are tasked with hear the words and see the words. Let's talk about the hear the words part. In this game, there are certain things that you can hear on the loading screens. There are 3 words that are in this trial. The first one is lamb. You are the Lamb of God. You got eye. You are the eye of God. And spider. You are a spider spinning the web of the future, waiting for a fly to get into it and get itself entrapped. These words are important to the 3 endings in this game. They are tuned through radios. These radios must be tuned and they will give you the word. Next, you must find a film reel around the mansion, usually it's outside, and replace it in the projector room. After you leave, you must make it your way through the tutorial area again, a very familiar area, as you backtrack and leave the area that you once called home. After you escape, you get a special little cutscene, a special little ending, if you will. There are 3 endings in the 1.0 version of Outlast Trials. The first ending takes place with a sleeper cell being in Havana, Cuba, during the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs mission. You get a phone call. You look well-dressed. You look like you're well taken care of, but you get a phone call and the words get spoken. Spider, eye, and lamb. It's said in the lore that this reagent got killed trying to kill Castro in Cuba, which I think he was successful. I don't know, put it on screen if he wasn't. The second ending takes place at the peak of the Vietnam War, or the beginning of the Vietnam War, with a reagent driving a car bomb into the front of Hotel Saigon, a Saigon-based hotel in the south side of Vietnam, and made it look like the North Vietnamese did it, the communist North, which triggered the Vietnam War in the Outlast Trials universe. And then you've got the third ending. The third ending is, if you haven't played Outlast 1, you will have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but if you played Outlast 1, this is crazy. See, there's a doctor in the Outlast series named Dr. Wernicke, who was brought over during Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip being a real-life operation where the members of the US court and military took over Nazi scientists at the end of World War II that had very crucial information on how to develop new technology. These scientists actually worked on going to the moon. I bet you didn't know that. I mean, a lot of people know that, but, you know, Nazis worked on the rockets. And Operation Paperclip used these scientists' intellect to push their research further. Dr. Wernicke originally worked on a small little idea called the morphogenic engine. Yes, if you've played Outlast 1, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. The morphogenic engine is a small little engine that feeds off of the dreams of the person inside of it, with it being controllable depending on how much trauma the person in the morphogenic engine has experienced. This was actually the same engine that the Wall Rider was controlled by in Outlast 1, with Wernicke commenting on about how there are metal tumors inside the reagent's brain, and how it's a touch from God. Yes, the entire Outlast Trials dream therapy was being manipulated through microwave waves that were made by, well, Wernicke, and each reagent had a metal tumor in their head that was reacting to these that would put certain images and affect their dreams. That's why sometimes when you're at the sleep room, you can hear the guards talk about dream therapy and how it's defining the 20th century. And that is the third ending and the last ending of the Outlast Trials. Overall, this game is amazing. It is super replayable, and its body horror and gore and its subtle depiction, the human psyche being the ultimate terrifying thing to delve into, makes this game awesome. The overall aesthetic of the game, awesome. Art style, awesome. This game is just awesome to play, and I'm glad I could take the time to talk about the game with you. Now why don't you pick up that phone and hear what we gotta say.
Get the latest update with new content
and a new solo game mode. Welcome to the Finals Update 1.